Okay, we are back, and thank you all so much. And we are joined now by Baylor University head coach Nikki Collin in her second year at Baylor. This team was 15-3 a year ago in the Big 12, 28-7 overall, a 12th consecutive regular season Big 12 title in 2022. And with her are three student athletes who we will get to and ask some questions in just a moment. Fifth-year senior Caitlin Bickle, grad student Jamie Asbury, and junior Sarah Andrews. So welcome to all of you. Coach, I'm going to start with you. I know one of the things you mentioned last season was you were small, relying on guards to rebound a little bit more, do some of those things. Do you feel like you addressed size with your roster here now headed into year two?
I think the uniqueness of our size is we don't necessarily have 6'5" players, but what we now have is more versatile small forwards, power forwards, so we can bring more size to each position as opposed to necessarily having a 6'6" center. So, you know, I certainly think we still need to team rebound. It's not as if we're going to be dominant on the boards because of one particular player. But I just think we have more position versatility and size overall.
I feel like that's where basketball has kind of gone in the positionless universe. Even when they're small, you still try to teach them, 1 through 5. But yet when you have versatility, and depth, that seems to make a big difference. That has to be something that you're looking forward to this year.
Yeah, I mean, when you study the game and you see the trends in women's basketball and basketball in general, and as Jamie has said, even in an interview today, I'm a nerd, but watching international basketball and seeing the fluidity of the game and the position versatility, it doesn't mean that we don't have players that are definitely more guard-like and players that are more post-like. But yes, I mean, it's a team that's built a little bit more around a goal of being able to have a chessboard and move pieces around and have people be successful in different spaces and places on the floor. So, being able to space the floor, shoot the three, create open space to drive it, so that our downhill players really have room to operate is really important in terms of our offensive flexibility.
That success last year, you get that 12th consecutive Big 12 regular season title. I know it was your first year in Waco. The whole experience, as you kind of reflect on year one, what are those things that you take away and say, you know what, that's what we've got to do a little bit better, or this is what we absolutely have to continue to do with our program?
Well, I think one of the things that people recognized last year is just how good the Big 12 was. And as much as Baylor has dominated it, you saw the rise of Kansas and Kansas State and Oklahoma, and obviously Texas has been good and Iowa State's been good. But I think our league got a lot of positive notoriety and to return so many of the top players, the all-conference players in our league, I think for us, year one was just about building a foundation, understanding culturally we're not always perfect, but we're trying to be good citizens. We're trying to be good ambassadors for Baylor. And there's a certain style and a way that we communicate with one another, a way that we play. And so I think when you look at the three players up here, they're all players that get to turn the page with me and our staff in year two and to develop the 8 new players on our team. And so, we've got a lot of work to do. I mean, you don't take over a team with the success that Baylor's had and just say, well, this is how we do it. I mean, I'm super proud of our resiliency last year, our resiliency in dealing with a limited roster, in handling the expectations of playing great basketball when the season ended. But I think we have to own the underdog role a little bit this year, and this idea that, we're going to have to put the pieces together. We're going to continue, as cliche as it sounds, to trust the process, to really grow individually and collectively, and for these guys to all figure out that they're going to have different roles this year. Without an Alyssa Smith to rely on or a Queen Egbo to clean up the boards when Alyssa misses, like these guys all play bigger roles this season for us.
All right, for all of you that are out there, if you do have a question, please raise your hand, and Rachel and Christopher will bring over a microphone. But before we do that, I'm going to ask some questions of these young ladies. Sarah, you didn't play a ton as a freshman, and then you're thrown in last year and got yourself a whole bunch of playing time and really earned a huge role and I think a lot of trust from this first-year head coach. What did you focus on in the off season to help elevate your game from last year to this year?
I'd say I didn't make excuses, Going into my sophomore year, I knew I was going to do anything to put myself on the court, whether that was change the way I ate, got in the gym more. But most of all, it goes down to the coach that has the confidence in you. I think Coach Nikki instilled a lot of confidence in me from jump, especially it being our first year together. Just the way she trusted me was different.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. And Sarah is a preseason all Big 12 selection heading into the 22-23 season. Caitlin, at times last year, Coach said it earlier, a thin roster, whether it was injury, illness, it kind of felt like you guys, that bench was a little thin, but it was mighty. So everyone was doing their part and you guys were all playing your role. How do you think that adversity sort of helped you guys bond as the season went on? And then are there lessons that you take from that headed into this year?
I think biggest thing for us last year was making sure we came together instead of, trying to deal with our losses or when we got hit by COVID or, just different things like that. Every obstacle that we faced, we really tried to focus on like, hey guys, like it's just us. Yeah. Obviously we love having a bigger roster this year, but I think it really taught us to lean to our coaches, lean like on each other. And I think that's the same that we're going into this year. I mean, we don't have a ton of returners, but we're all looking at it the same way. So many people have to learn Coach Nikki's system just like how we had to learn it last year. And I think that's just a big thing for us to continue to do and just stay connected.
And Jamie, on that same vein, it seems as though a lot of times the message is you guys are going to play fast, but you've also got to play contain, and you guys play smart basketball. That's how you won a lot of games down the stretch last season. How important is it for you guys, especially as guards, to get out in transition, but to play smart transition basketball?
I think it's really important, but it starts with defense for us to go in transition. And I think that when we pressure the ball and, do what we're supposed to do and rotate right, I think transition will be easier to run past our man after we just got a steal. So I think that wide open layups are great. So I think that wins a lot of the games.
Get yourself out and get a few easy ones, right? You take them when you can get them. Coach, you've got both the newcomer and the freshman preseason player of the year selections that are new to your roster. Asia Blackwell comes to you from Mizzou. Dariana Littlepage-Buggs, the 6'1" guard forward from Edmond, Oklahoma. That's two big numbers or two big tags to put behind those names. What kind of impact can these two players have for you this season?
Well, obviously Asia's seasoned. You don't spend 3 years in the SEC and not understand what it means to show up for your team. She's someone that is tenacious, even against her own teammates. And so if the ball is loose, she's on top of it. And so there's a value in possession. There's a toughness about her. I think she's a better three-point shooter than maybe people have given her credit for. So that'll be a little more open to her this year. Being able to swing her position from potentially some 4 and 3. We've got that in Caitlin as well. But I think Asia is just the biggest thing she brings is a toughness at the rim, a physicality and a desire to win, and in a lot of ways to get herself to the NCAA tournament, which she hasn't been able to do when she was at Missouri. Buggs is just the throwback. She's that player that when you ask their teammates, they all like playing with her. She doesn't take the most shots. In fact, we stat every practice. She's taken almost the least number of shots on our team, but she's also the most efficient because she only takes good shots. She makes good cuts to the basket. She offensive rebound. She rolls to the rim. She knows her spots where she's effective on the floor. She wants to compete, and she kind of does it quietly. And so she just has kind of that workman-like approach where she wants to fill in any gap that the team needs to be successful. And so that can help any team.
All right, before we go, I know that practice is incredibly competitive every day. It doesn't matter whether you're in there for probably 30 minutes or in 2 hours and 30 minutes. But I'm a fan of the puppy that came to the Twitter account and to Coach's house. So is the puppy is that sort of like the happy end of practice when the puppy comes or when it shows up? I just have to know. Because it's adorable. I mean, the puppy is adorable.
I wouldn't say happy ending. We kind of have like a little balcony in our practice gym. And obviously, like, some people are working up there whenever we're in practice so they can still watch. And it's just funny because every time Coach Nikki talks and it's like really, really quiet in the gym, you can just hear Scout start to bark. Like, he knows it's her. And we're just like, all right. You know, like, every single time. And it's happened so much. And I think it's just like the kind of funny little aspect that we get every day to see him.
He loves me.
Well, that's good. And at least he's listening. And hopefully they're listening in practice as well.
Yeah.
Everyone should listen. All right. Well, I want to thank all of you guys for being up here and wish you the very best all season long. The University of Kansas, their coach and student athletes will be back up here in just a few minutes. Best of luck all season long. Thank you.
Thank you.